Welcome, gamers, to this week's episode of Last Call Gaming. We're on episode 159. Today is January 28th. My name is Craig Perales, and sliding into the front row seat with me today, my brother, Geno Perales.
Shotgun.
Hey, how you feeling, buddy? So I think this is the first episode on this year, huh?
Yeah, first episode of the brand new year.
So Andrew was in Vegas celebrating his Cece's birthday. So happy birthday to Cece.
Happy birthday.
And I
was curious why I got the call.
Oh yeah. Well, we were supposed. There's always stuff with scheduling and recording, so it's always like things get pushed back, and then I'm not unfortunate, but Andrew actually has something to do this weekend. So hey, when he's out, Geno gets the step up call.
Hey, second fiddle comes sliding.
Hey, comes us singing in. So guys, thank you for joining us today. If you're watching the YouTube version of this show, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the share, and hit that notification bell. If you guys are interested in following us on any of our social media, our Linktree link is in the description. You can follow us on any of those. And if you're listening to the audio-only version of this podcast, check us out on your podcast platform of choice. But as of right now, Anchor is the home for us. And if you guys want to donate to keep that podcast growing profitably, you can, and feel free to do so. So, as always, before we get going into our main topic, we like to do What Are You Up To? Where we take a second, talk about anything we've been playing, anything we've been watching, just loosen up the old vocal cord. So, Gene, I don't think you've been on since last year, so what have you been up to, my man?
Not too much. I'm trying to make this year the year of beating some of my backlog, which is always something I strive to do, but I don't think any of us ever can. But what I recently just finished was the show Wednesday. I know it came out a while ago, but I just finally sank my teeth into it, binged it in one day.
You knocked out all 8 or 9 episodes in one day?
Yeah, I just sat there and just went down the rabbit hole, which at first I didn't think I was going to like it because I don't know, they started talking, like, I don't know, when you get to the school and stuff, they're like, oh, you got to do the TikTok. They started just being kind of like too
modern day
teeny for me.
Yeah.
And, but, I was like, let's get past the first episode. Second one got me, started going through it. But the only thing is, binging it, by the end of it, I was kind of like over her attitude, like, which is defining it.
What's her name? Geno
Ortega. Yeah. And it made the show, but by the end of it, I'm like, dude, come on. You are not just like this the whole time. Then she starts accusing everybody of this. But overall, I thought it was a good show, and season 2, I'm definitely going to watch. Playing-wise, I just beat Ni no Kuni. I know I started it before Mandrew. I finished it after, but like I said, I really wanted to make this just get through the backlog. Beautiful game. Beat number 2 a couple years ago. Number 1, so again, Ni no Kuni is a Japanese-style RPG. It was originally released in November 17, 2011. The remaster came out September 19, 2019. And then who does the animation in it is Studio Ghibli. And they're the ones that do Spirit Away and Howl's Moving Castle and all that.
Ghibli more.
Ghibli more. So as far as the animation goes, awesome. The storyline's good. The only thing is it does take a little bit to get into it. We said that before. I think by like hour 38 is really, I was really catching my stride. And then I had Mandrew come over and he kind of showed me where to get some of the good power-ups, where to cheese it, leveled my guys up, and then just smashed the game and finally was just done with it. But if you haven't played it, definitely play the remaster.
How is Ghibli spelled? Is it Gibble or Ghibli?
I think it's G-H-I-B-L-I.
Oh.
Ghibli some more. But yeah, no, finally getting it done. I got some more backlog.
I know, and the other thing we've been playing is, Jen and I started, I didn't even think about this, when we started playing the DC Universe Online, and that's our MMO that we're playing right now, and I beat it a while ago, got my level 30 on the good guy side, but now we're playing villains.
We're playing evil!
So, excellent. As far as what I've been watching, I started Young Sheldon, which is on HBO Max, and I gotta say, it's better than I thought. It's 5 seasons, and I'm almost done with season 3. There's usually 24 episodes per season. They're 20 minutes. Originally, I think you should watch Big Bang before you watch Young Sheldon. I thought it looked stupid. The trailer looked dumb. None of the characters looked interesting. I thought it was just like, eh. But I kept hearing Deandra hooting and hollering, and they're laughing their ass off. And I was like, what? Okay. I'm like, maybe I'll give it a try. It's not that funny where I'm laughing every 5 minutes, but there are some banger lines in there where I'm just like really enjoying it. So if you're ever on the fence on Young Sheldon, I would say check it out.
24 episodes is a chunky season, too.
It's one of the last of a dying breed that actually does things like that. It's a chunky monkey. The kid playing Sheldon Cooper is a lot better than I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to be annoying. He's not. The sister's hilarious. The kid playing his brother's awesome. The mom, who, from Fun Triv, if you don't know, looks just like the mom from Big Bang. And upon researching it, it's her daughter. And I'm like, dude,
cool.
I'm like, dude, she nails that look. She nails the voice. But what really keeps me in it is Wallace Shawn. Changing 500. He's in it, dude, and he's hilarious. My biggest problem is the girl playing Mima, Annie Potts, is a totally different version of what you see her in Big Bang. And for me, I could put one to one with all these other characters, but her version, her interpretation of how Mima was back when he was 10 or whatever, versus what you see in Big Bang, like that is not the same person. And that's my biggest gripe. But
he's griping.
I would say check it out if you haven't.
It's one of the things where it's going to take a lot for me to get started, but if you're giving it praise, I'll definitely try.
And there's so much others. So as far as what I've been playing, I just beat this game, Lost in Random. I 100%ed it. Developed by Zoink Games and Thunderful Group and published by EA. Come out in 2021. So it's kind of hard to explain, so I'm just going to read the premise off of Wikipedia. It says, in the kingdom of random, the fate of all individuals is decided by a cursed black die when they reach the age of 12. Even's sister, Odd, is abducted by the wicked queen of random. As Even journeys across the 6 realms of random to rescue her sister, she meets Dicey, a sentient dice who has lost nearly all of his pips. Pips are the black spots in a die. In a world which is governed by game rules, Even will slowly understand the randomness of life with the help of Dicey. So even that's not incredibly helpful, but the game has a really kind of dark and creepy aesthetic, and the only thing I could really compare it to is like a Tim Burton style, like a Coraline, an Edward Scissorhands kind of look. You travel through these 6 different worlds, which are all actually named after like 1 through 6 with funny kind of interpretations. There's 1 Croft, 2 Town, 3dom, 4burg, 5 Tropolis, and then 6 Topia. So it's got this really kind of like Alice in Wonderland meets like Tim Burton kind of feel to it. It's super
like the movie he directed.
Which, yeah, that would actually suck. But I mean, like, it's more like looking at like Nightmare Before Christmas type monsters, but like with this weird feeling that you're in like this Alice in Wonderland land kind of like world that they produce. It's really weird because the combat is action, but you end up finding these cards, and you can buy these cards, and you can make a deck. So when you go to throw the dice, you go into what's called the dice mention, and every time freezes, and then depending on how much whatever the dice rolled is your power usage, and then you could play cards that'll give you abilities like give you a sword. Because by yourself, all she shoots is this slingshot that doesn't do any damage, but it cracks these crystals that let you build points. But you can get like a sword, a bow and arrow. You can roll a big die 20. You can summon these monsters. So the combat's really interesting. And what's unfortunately is I only remember seeing this game on sales, and I wish I would have played it in 2021 because it easily would have been in my top 5. I know that. And what's unfortunate is I just think it's like bad marketing because I don't hear anybody talking about this. And when I had Melissa was watching me play it, Deandra was watching me play it, Mandrew was watching me play it, and they're all like, dude, that game looks awesome. Like,
I watched you play it.
I forgot you were there. So I would say if you guys have been seeing it and on sales, because usually you can get it for like $10. If you have the Game Pass Ultimate, it's a free game if you have the EA bundle, so you can play it for free, and it was really fun. So that is enough of that, guys. Go down below, let us know what you've been playing, what you've been watching, and all of that. So with that down out of the way, guys, let's move into our main story today, and that is that the Xbox Bethesda Developer Direct has just aired. That was on January 25th, and what it was doing, it was showcasing games from Arcane Austin, Mojang Studios, Turn 10 Studios, ZeniMax Online. Even on their XboxNews.com, they failed to mention that Tango Games was in there, but they made an appearance. It was about 40 minutes long. And what it did is it did these kind of deep dives into a few titles, and it says what they were focusing on was releases that were over the next couple of months instead of multiple games taking place over all of 2023. And to me, I kind of just found that a little odd. A few people were kind of mad at it, thought it was a questionable move, and the main reason was because at the end of 2022, when they did the VGAs, everyone noticed that Microsoft and Xbox didn't have a strong presence. There's people like Ryan McCaffrey who were going on saying like, it's the end of 22. You're not showing us anything for 2023. And the kind of rebuttal was, okay, well, early 2023, we're going to do an Xbox showcase and it's going to show us what is going on for the rest of the year. And it really didn't. It even if you read their blog, it says, let's see. It's going to be a big year for Xbox exclusives, and we showed that today at the Developer Direct Showcase, where Xbox and Bethesda development team showcased extended gameplay and revealed key information for some brand new games coming to Xbox, PC, and Game Pass, including Forza Motorsport, Minecraft Legends, and Redfall, as well as the next chapter reveal for the Elder Scrolls Online. So even when it's saying including, I mean, that's everything they showed except for one more game that we'll talk about. So it was, to me, a little misleading. I thought it was going to be more games under that 40 minutes, or they could have, I think, half the time. But a lot of people, when I talked to, Geno's going to have his opinion in a second, but like some other friends, Devin and them, were like, I like the deep dive. So before we get into each one of them, just kind of give our thoughts on it. Did you think this was a missed opportunity for them to start going, hey, here's the plan? If we didn't mention anything at the end of 22, here's our layout plan for the rest of the year. Or do you think it was does the average gamer even give a shit? Or do you think it was fair that they were like, hey, no, here's the 4 things we wanted to talk about. Here we go.
Yeah, so I fall in the second camp, but we had a
heated debate
off camera about this the other night. Because when I hear developer direct, I just don't compare it to a video game direct, and I was totally expecting something like this, just a few games that they're gonna deep dive into. So I wasn't disappointed when it goes into, hey, we're gonna give you the big deep dive early this year. I wasn't expecting it in January, so I was totally on board with just watching this. I actually really liked a couple of things that they were talking about. So for me, totally on board. Could they have done more? Yes. Would I have loved a big video game thing in January? Absolutely. But I wasn't expecting it, and I think this did an amazing job outlining what they are going to be doing in the next couple months. So I think it did what it was supposed to do, although obviously I did want more.
I changed my tune a tad because I was very upset about this, but the more I kind of looked into it, I'm like, okay, because even in their kind of post, they say, we're doing a whole separate thing for Starfield, right? Because that wasn't part of it. And again, this was a Xbox Bethesda kind of team up. So even though they weren't showing games like Far Cry 6, the new Indiana Jones, anything about Fable, I'm sure more of it to come. But if Xbox, I will have to pass on a sliding scale if Microsoft does more developer directs throughout each quarter, shining all these other studios. Because the other thing is, Microsoft and Xbox has 20 plus first party studios, and my biggest thing is like, okay, Bethesda's your big boy, and you showed this, which to a lot of people was perfectly fine, but it's like, this is what you ended up showing. I expected a little more. I'm not completely upset about it as I was a day or so ago, but only if they show us more developer directs from all the other studios that they have. Like, you can't say in your back pocket, we have Bethesda, the guys that make Skyrim and all these things, and then that's all you show, and it's like, okay, well then you better have a lot of other good content ready for the rest of the year. Yeah. So
now that's the thing, if they don't, then it's going to be
then I'm back to being rabid.
But yeah, I think
we're animal.
I think we're still on a good path. I mean, we still have the whole rest of the year, and it's the very, very beginning. So they might have something come out in March or February. So
I really hope they do.
If they don't have something good by the first quarter after this, then we might be looking at some trouble.
We don't talk about new business, until next quarter. So let's get into what they showed off. And the first thing they showed off was from Mojang, and it was Minecraft Legends coming April 18th of 2023. And what they really kind of showcased, because Minecraft Legends has been out, right? That's the game that you and I beat together.
The shit out of
beat that shit out of them. But what they showed up was kind of more of this PvP mode and the strategies that people were coming up with, as well as the procedurally generated maps that were going to be on each of them. And to me, it looked pretty fun. My question is, because I'm not a big PvPer, and I know you are, I don't know if it's pretty much in this kind of camp, but I'm curious because Minecraft Legends on its surface is supposed to be attractive to kids, right? All the kids like Minecraft. Then Legends comes out, and I would say it's kind of like an early addition to like a dungeon crawler that's suitable for everybody. I'm curious if this PvP is the same thing. Is it going to be like, is this a kids version entry into learning PvP, or did it look like it was for the seasoned vet? And that's kind of why I wasn't sure. Like, is Grayson going to be able to pick this up or get stomped, or is this for somebody that dominates PvPs to go, oh, another one for me to start instantly just start smashing? How did you look at it?
Yeah, so first off, I liked Minecraft Legends.
So did I.
I was really hoping it was just going to be an additional DLC that we could keep playing with, because I kind of forgot about it, and Grayson's getting older, and I'm like, hey, this is a good starter. PvP, you got me wrong. I'm not a huge PvP person. I like playing it once in a while, but this, to me, Minecraft Legends, it was a very linear game. You do the story, you beat it. How many people are still playing this game to where PvP option is that going to bring more people in, or is there such a big community there that now they're going to shift to PvP? I was kind of it is a weird thought, but to answer your question, the video didn't look very friendly. I mean, I don't think Grayson's going to pick it up
intimidating
and do it. Yeah, he's like, oh, they built this, and I have to run back and build this.
I'm shooting archers to smash all these towers. I was
yeah,
what?
So it seems like it might be easy to start but hard to master. But I think this is more geared towards like a teenager. I don't know if an 8-year-old is going to have the concept to do it. And I might be wrong once we start playing it, and there might be some easy options, or they might be able to do it. But it's supposed to be completely collaborative. So if you have a 6-year-old or a couple kids doing their own thing, running around, your team's fucked. It's totally based on team support. Or that's what I got out of it.
Yeah, it looked like everyone playing it, and obviously all the developers that were doing it clearly loved what they were doing. But yeah, it was like... It seemed completely based on the fact that everyone has to attack this thing as a group, which, in fairness, that's what PvP
and more than
should
kids,
be.
Just like Minecraft at this stage, and some of the kids, Minecraft started years ago, and some of those kids are now teenagers, high schools, young adults. So I mean, there are going to be a lot of people playing it. I'm just curious of why would they not just bring in more Minecraft Legends?
Yeah, but that's not to say they're not. I think
I want that.
They did. There was a couple new DLCs. The last time I looked, remember when we looked at it?
We looked and there was nothing last time.
No, you just had to buy it. It's just not free.
So it's not free.
You got to pay for this content. And I was under the impression that you did PvP with like Destiny 2 and stuff like that. Weren't you doing stuff like that?
I like hate like
are you doing PvE
shooter like PvP, like Halo and stuff like that. Like if it's a first-person shooter game, Call of Duty, Destiny is like that. I like that, but like
you weren't doing that on WoW or nothing like that.
Not very.
Then my memory is completely
not very
warped.
well. Yeah, games like that where it's WoW or Elder Scrolls, MMO stuff like this where it's PvP. I'm not a huge. I'll play it. I'm probably gonna play it, but that's not where I shine.
Hey, I feel you. So again, guys, what did you think of Minecraft Legends PvP? It looked interesting. It looked fun. I just, for me, it just looked like something that I agree with you that like, oh, it's interesting. That's where they not pivoted, but that's kind of where they're branching off a new spearhead, and it's a smart idea.
It is very smart. If you want a game to have longevity and legs, you got to have something that they can do at any time, and a PvP is always a great way to add to that. So I mean, I don't fault it. I would like more story because that's what I would have played. But very good add-on. Nice.
So the second game they showed off was Forza Motorsport, which is by Turn 10. And again, for their blog saying that they were focusing on games coming out early in the year, this game doesn't even have a release date. It says coming 2023. So again, another thing that kind of pissed me off. I'm like, yeah, saying it's for the beginning of the year, but like you don't even have a date for it. But they were kind of showing off that this thing is going to have 20 locations, a few from old favorites from like the past games, 5 brand new ones, and mainly what they were showing off is how clean this game looked. 4K, 60 FPS, with showcasing their awesome fucking new ray tracing abilities and real-time weather changing. And I gotta say, like every good car racing game, you really showcase of how realistic it can look, and goddamn, did this thing, dude, for a minute when I first was watching that, some of that I thought it was real, and they were capturing the footage to like translate it to the game, and I'm like, oh shit, that's the game. Now, I was a big fan of Forza Horizon, mainly because outside of racing, it was exploration, it was traveling. So I don't know I think Forza Motorsport is mainly focusing on doing laps around these other locations, but I think just because of how much fun I had in Horizon, and this will be on the Game Pass, I definitely am going to check this out.
Playing this thing.
Oh yeah, you're getting right in. You're gonna buy. Geno's going to buy the rig, and he's going to.
We're not a huge racer people, but man, this is the first game that truly looked next generation. For the when they were showing like not that it's a huge thing, but like, oh, if you equip your car with certain pieces of stereo and this, like the sound your car is going to make is totally going to reflect on how you custom built it, and I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, and then they were talking about how the dirt's going to build up as you're doing shit as realistic as possible, and like. That's the kind of nerdy shit like that I kind of want to see, and it's cool that they're finally able to do it to such a high caliber. Yeah, the mechanics and the engine that they're gonna have in this, which I mean, again, I'm mad they didn't show off any Fable, but if this is the studio that's doing Forza, okay, and it's gonna look this badass, then Fable better look fucking good, because there's some issues that there are some people saying that Fable's in trouble and it's delaying, but I'm like. If it's because they're working on this, then I'll give it some time. I'll give it the buy. They need to just put. Unfortunately, they just need to start completely focusing on the next gen system and quit trying to balance two. When we're on this type of hardware, I want games that only run on this hardware. That's the reason we bought it. Exactly. So this game finally looks like it's going to be true to form. Nice. So the next game that they showed off was the one they didn't show off, the one they didn't talk about in the blog. And that was this is kind of their secret game they wanted to drop, but that's from Tango Gamework.
and it was Hi-Fi Rush, and it actually is out now. So if you were watching it, by the time you're watching this, the game's out. It was interesting because Tango Gameworks are known for being a horror studio. They did Evil Within 1 and 2, and they did Ghostwire Tokyo. So Tokyo Time. So clearly, they moved in a whole different kind of aesthetic. The way I was looking at this game is it kind of reminded me of like Sunset Overdrive mixed with Jet Set Radio and a little splash of No More Heroes. It's a rhythm-based action game. It's the first one I've ever played. I've been meaning to play Hellbringer, which is on Game Pass, but I never really got around to it. And I don't count things like Guitar Hero like that. This is my first story-based game like that.
Hey, Guitar Hero had a story, man.
Yeah, you had to rock to the top, baby. I actually started playing it, and I got all the way to, I think, the second boss. The game's good. I was actually looking at this going, man, this is why I try to change my tune. I'm like, this is what you're going to show off. The game's good. I'm not going to say it's game of the year by any means, but like for a studio that's known to do something that completely did a 180 and did something else, it's refreshing. This is something I think a lot of studios need to take a page out of this book. You can't be scared to do something new, even if it fails, which this one, in my opinion, hasn't. But you got to do other stuff. There's a reason why you don't want to be locked into doing the same thing over and over. And for them to come out of the gate with Evil Within 1 and 2 and Ghostwire, and now this, I'm like, this is rejuvenating for the industry. That studios can go, yeah, we can try our hand at something completely different. If it hits, it hits. So, what'd you think of the trailer when you saw it, and did you get a chance to play it at all yet?
No, so when this came out, when it came out, like, dude, this game looks badass. And
I thought it looked so stupid.
Dude, they're all kind of giving me shit. I'm like, no, dude, this actually looks way cool because, like he was saying, you kind of said everything I was going to say perfectly. But so when I was going to play a rhythm game, I think of Guitar Hero and stuff like that. So when there's games like that can have a good action and story, this game looks like it's going to fire on all cylinders.
It's fun, man. Dude, it's fun. I can't wait for you to play it. It's fun.
Yeah, so I'm ready to hop into it. It'll kind of, I hope if it's that good, it'll actually give the definition of what a good rhythm-based action game can be, and then more companies have, a guideline of how to follow it. I think it'll look good. The only thing that was cool is when the guy talking, I totally heard when he what did he say? He says, "My name's Chai, not a defect." I totally heard, "My name's Dante the Demon Hunter." So I had to look him up. Was this the same fucking dude? And it's not. And but this dude, he actually has a cool little run. He does a Spider-Man run.
Oh, cool.
And
you mean the voice?
And the voice. And he does Vox Machina and Critical
sweet.
and stuff like that. So he's got a pretty good resume if you guys want to look him up. But I think, I haven't played it yet. I downloaded it after I watched the thing. I want to beat Midnight Suns. I just started that first. But I think if it's that good, I think I'm going to make that my
again, don't let me overhype it, because sometimes when someone overhypes it and you play, you're like, eh. But for me, it was underhyped when I saw it, and I was like, it's really cool. One of the other cool things was, because I think Chai's a really interesting character, is in the beginning when you start it, it says there's a streamer mode and a non-streamer mode, and it says we've locked down licenses for certain titles. So when you play it, it's like, I don't want to say it was the Red Hot Chili Pepper, maybe it was, but like it'll pop up and like tell you what song's playing. But if you want to turn streamer mode on, because a lot of people can get flagged for it for doing licensed content, it'll replace those with originally written songs for the game, so you don't get flagged on. I'm like, that's real. And I don't know if other games do that. I'm not a streamer, but I thought that's the first time I've ever started a game, and it asked me that.
And that could be a pioneering, if it hasn't been done, because I haven't heard of that, it could be a nice pioneering piece if you're going to make a streaming game, build in the mechanics.
Like a Tony Hawk or something like that.
Can't get flagged. And it looks funny as shit. And it
is funny, man.
The aesthetics, the colorfulness, the comedy just looks good. His little sidekick, I'm sure he gets into some shenanigans.
808, the cat.
It just looks fun.
And it's really comic book. It's like playing a comic book,
which I like.
You're a fan of those? So the next one,
the 9.8.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to point out too that I wrote down, the enemy in it is called Vandalay.
Yes, I had that.
It's called There's companies called
Vandalay
Armstrong something, and I was called it's called Armstrong something. I'm like, why did they just call it Vandalay Industries?
Oh, I know. No, Vandalay Tech is what I had written down.
And I was like, dude,
I was fucking glad you said that, because I was gonna.
So there's our Seinfeld reference for the day. The fourth game they showed off was, not game, but it was from ZeniMax Online Studios. It's their next big update / DLC, and it was called Necrom. And what they did is they showed off the new class, Arcanist, and this title is actually going to take you back to Morrowind. And the bigger shocker I thought on this was that all 20 DLC that has happened since the conception of ESO is now out for a limited time for free. So if you are interested in jumping in, or if you never bought them as you played it, they're all testable now, playable, and if you like them, eventually you can buy them. It was perfect. I know Deandra and them are playing ESO. When Geno and I looked at it, I mean, I was like, dude, are we going to re-download and start playing it? So,
or some of us never uninstalled it.
Yeah, so I got to say, it looks really cool. The fact that you get all that, that's a pretty big bang for your buck. And it looked cool. A new class. I mean, it's always fun for that.
Yeah, no, it's a huge thing. Before we came over, I tried looking for the DLC and where to find it because I want to actually start going through some of this shit. I couldn't find it, but I was kind of half-assed looking.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's a quest somewhere you got to go.
But no, so that's huge that all the DLC is going to get released for a little bit of time. It really is going to encourage people who haven't played it to jump in, and people who haven't played it in a while, like myself, to play it as well, because I started playing it. I ran a dungeon. Dude, I was just, we're just trying to figure it out, and I kept dying, and this guy hit me up. He's like, hey, Hades, quit, learn how to resurrect and stay with the group. And I'm like, oh. So there's definitely some cobwebs I got to brush off. But no, I downloaded it. I love the new race. So I really want you to...
New class. They're Arcanus, right?
Yeah. I really want you to jump into it just so we can play it, but maybe I'll hop in with Deandra, short things.
And show a couple things. So, yeah, get that while the getting's good. And the last thing they showed off was the game Redfall, which is by Arcane. It drops on May 2nd. It was really kind of an extended gameplay. It looked really cool. I gotta say, it looks like what I wanted Back 4 Blood to be.
Yes,
Back 4 Blood was that's a good spiritual successor of Left 4 Dead, and it was basically a group to get together, shoot some zombies, kill some people. Back 4 Blood the card I love a good card mechanic, but it kind of slowed the game down with these attachments and all this other stuff. Sorry if that hurt your mic or your ears. This kind of looked more like a vampire-filled Borderlands type game, which is right up my alley. So what did you think of the gameplay? I mean, obviously we both liked it.
No, big fan of the Borderlands style gameplay. So I think the mechanics of it looked good. The skill trees, I think, looked really good. Anything with a vampire, I'm already kind of hooked. And I was kind of going into it, I'm like, I hope this isn't like a boring rinse and repeat. You go in, there's some vampires, you kill it, you move on. But they really made it seem like it's going to be versatile. Like when they're talking about the vampire nest, they're saying no nest will ever be the same. The world is constantly changing. So there is going to be enough there, I think, to keep it alive, to not get it stale, because that was really the most thing. I was like, I don't want to fight the same 6 vampires and then, rinse and repeat. So I think it looks really good. Interested in playing it. I do want to play it in a group. I think that's the funnest way to play. And even when he's like walking up the stairs, I mean, there is enough creepiness to it. There's enough jump scare to it. It's going to have some good group mechanics. I think it's going to have everything we want to play in a group. Like, that was a good comparison. I think it was the game
that we wanted it to be, right?
Yeah, to be. I think it looks great.
So I wanted to point out, the characters are going to be Devinder Crowsley, who's going to be the cryptozoologist, Layla Ellison, who's the telekinetic, Remy De La Rosa, who's the combat engineer, and Jacob Boyer, who's going to be the sharpshooter. Ooh. I think I'm leaning towards Layla Ellison, the telekinetic. I don't normally play that type of character when I play Borderlands, but I kind of want to try that out because she looked extremely interesting. But I'll probably default to Remy De La Rosa, combat engineer. Who are you kind of leaning towards?
What was the first one?
The cryptozoologist, who's kind of, I believe, the trap maker.
Okay. Maybe that one sounds interesting, but I don't know. When we're in a game and we're playing groups, I like being in the back and hitting, so the sharpshooter is probably what I'm going to do. Looks like he has a little familiar with him, so yeah. I don't know. I'll probably start sharpshooter.
Excellent. So those were the games and the updates and the DLCs they showed off. Again, I wish it was a little more. It was 40 minutes. I think it could have been tightened up, but again, those were all deep dives. So overall, it was good. Check it out. Link will be in the description. Let us know your thoughts down below.
39 minutes. Give it a watch.
So guys, with that being said, life tends to get a little hairy sometimes. So why not check out our friends over at Manscaped to handle all those hairy situations. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor for this video, Manscaped. We are starting 2023 off right with our friends at Manscaped. Last year may have been a hairy situation, but with the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0, it's here to help you shave the day. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have blessed you with the ultimate package. Tell your friends about your new cutting-edge ball trimmer and gift yourself, or the man in your life, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Trim a little off your sack by going to manscaped.com and use the code LastCall for free shipping and 20% off. Like most of you guys, I used barbaric methods to trim my balls, but not anymore, thanks to Manscaped and the Perfect Package 4.0. Inside, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to carry everything with you. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code LastCall at manscaped.com. Again, that's 20% off and free shipping with the code LastCall at manscaped.com. And trust me, fellas, your balls will thank you. All right, guys, those are our friends at Manscaped. Make sure you check them out. Use the code LastCall and get your discount. So, with that down on the way, guys, let's move into questions of the week. Now, guys, if you want to submit a question that we can answer on the show, there's a few ways that you can do that. You can leave your question down below in the YouTube comment section. We can grab them there. You can email us at lastcallproductions@gmail.com, or you can find me on social media at Craig Perales, and I can take them there. So, our first question, guys, comes from Jason R., and they write, what do you guys think about the comment by Neil Druckmann saying that Naughty Dog is moving on from the Uncharted series? Yeah, this kind of caught a few people by surprise, the fact that he said that. Let me see if I can find the quote here. So before I find the quote, what do you think about, them moving on from Uncharted? Do you think it's well done? Do you think that's a smart move for a game for a franchise that's generated hundreds of millions, if not more?
Yeah, well, you got to look at it at a point where a studio probably does get a little fatigued off of it. And when you're fatigued making them, you don't do your best work. I know the last installment of the game series didn't do nearly as good as the original ones that had Nathan Drake in it. The movie was a little, it did good, but it wasn't, as quite as good as they were expecting. Uncharted 4 came with my PlayStation, so that was my first introductory, was number 4. I freaking loved it. I bought the remastered trilogy, beat the other 3. I didn't beat the one with his daughters. That's kind of where it fell off for me. I think the series is phenomenal. If you haven't played it, I think it's a staple. It kind of, not define the genre, but it did a really good job supplementing it with Tomb Raider and stuff like that. But I completely understand, hey, We've done a lot. We've done a really good job. We want to step away, like the Ghostwire Tokyo guys. Maybe they just want to try their hand in something else. Doesn't mean they can't come back to it. But I don't have any problem with them taking a break. They did a really good job at making the best they could.
Yeah. So this comes from IGN. It's a small part of the full article. If you want to read it, the link will be in the description. And it says, in an interview with BuzzFeed, Naughty Dog co-president Neil Druckmann confidently said the studio is moving on from the Uncharted series, saying, Uncharted was insanely successful. Uncharted 4 was one of our best-selling games, and we're able to put our final brushstroke on that story and say that we're done. There's other articles that are saying that he's also open to the potential of having The Last of Us Part 3 being maybe their next thing. So two minds is, Last of Us didn't really need a part 2, but since you made it, you've got to make a third one. I think you have to. You've got to trilogize that thing. But as far as Uncharted ending, I think it's smart. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm gonna say, reading that article, it even says he's finished the story. He has his family now. He's retired. You don't want it to go into Indiana Jones territory where Harrison Ford's 86 still doing it. End him on a good capstone, you know what I mean? I don't want him super old still trying to do this stuff.
Well, yeah, that's one of the cool things is the ability to recognize something has hit its peak and then put it to bed for a little bit. A good example is Santa Monica did it with God of War. God of War was kind of running itself into the ground. Mm-hmm. Most people don't remember anything past 1, 2, and 3, even though there was 3 other games. They put it down for a little bit, yeah, and then maybe a decade or so after, they revamped it and made the new God of War. Now, I'm not saying he's going to do that, but yeah, take a page out of Seinfeld did it. When you're at your peak, instead of going one more and maybe the 5th one would have been the worst one, but the fact that he's going, we're going to pause it here. And I don't think the way he's saying it, the question is, does that mean Uncharted is going to be done definitively? I think it means they're going to put a pause on it. But does that mean, are they going to make spin-off content? Because I forget what the other one's called, but it's the 2 girls, the 2 women doing their story.
It's his daughter.
I don't think that one's his daughter. No,
yeah. That's what I thought it was.
No, I don't think it's his daughter. I'll pull it up if I can find it. But but again, though, if they do the one with one with the daughter, what means what would happen if they made a new franchise with her and called it something else? Uncharted technically would be done, but a new title could be
She kept
something.
her last name. She named her son Nathan, and it's Nathan Drake the second, and then we just carry on from there.
So yeah, I think it's a smart thing to do. You know, recognize the fact that you don't have to keep making it just because it's successful, and it gives Naughty Dog a chance, like you're saying, maybe pull a Tango Gamework and make something that's completely different than an action adventure, over the shoulder, you know, third person kind of game. Which at this point, Sony is kind of exhausting that genre. Are you still looking for that?
Yeah, I just want to see if it did. I could have sworn it had his daughter. It was his daughter's game, but not that it matters. But
so the next question, if you can find it, feel free to chime in with it. But the next question, and thank you for the question, comes from the Masked Man, and they write, now that episode 2 is out for the Last of Us series on HBO, how do you think the show is progressing after the huge success of episode 1? Will the show continue to be great? Did you find the
it says new protagonists, and it gives some names, but I can't tell if it's Chloe and Nadine. I can't tell if it's his daughter or not.
Yeah, I
forget what her name was.
I'm pretty positive it's not.
But,
so,
dude, goddamn.
So, okay, yeah. So to answer your question, now that episode 2 is out, because on the last week's episode when we were talking about Last of Us, you know, I was kind of saying number 1 was extremely great. It was excellent. But will the show be great overall if episode 1 is really the best it gets? And I gotta say, I was super impressed with episode 2, and I love the fact that they kind of do these openings, at least so far, 1 and 2, where these scientists are kind of like seeing how shit happened. When it goes there, I think they're in like India or something, and it was in 2023, and they go over, they go get this lady who's the best at whatever that science is, and she starts talking about it, and you just learn instantly how fucked we are, because she's like, what do we do? He's like, you gotta bomb us, you gotta wipe us out before this thing spread. I was like, dude, that opening was like, if all of them do that, those have been the best parts for me.
Oh, dude.
And again, let me just preface this by saying, spoilers, maybe we will say something you consider a spoiler, so if you don't want to hear this question, look at the timestamps and move on.
Yeah. So, goddamn, this was actually a really good episode, and you guys said a lot of good stuff last time. Thank God this thing is on HBO, because
quality.
It's just quality. And I wasn't assuming there would be bad acting,
Quality.
Dude, but even when the scientist bitch like drinking her tea, and they're told that, and like she put it down, and
I noticed that too.
And I was gonna say, I hope that wasn't scripted, and it was just good acting.
Yeah.
But dude, it's just like, those are the little things that you have to appreciate in it, dude. And when she's just like, listen to me carefully, there is no answer, dude. And then it looks fucking good, and it's staying good. And I was on the camp. I didn't really care for the casting choice, obviously, you know, whatever. But once you watch episode 1 and you see what kind of Ellie she's being, where she's quippy, that kills. That makes it a whole new thing. I'm on board, dude. I think we need that in this.
She's my favorite person at this point, dude. I love her.
It's so good.
Yeah, I thought she is excellent. She's definitely making this role her own, and she's excellent. She's fierce. She doesn't give a fuck. She's perfect. I would have wished we would have made this more of like our last episode. It was one of our main topics.
Yeah,
we're a video game show. We're not a TV show. So I wanted to make this a question that somebody sent in, and I got to say, she not only is she awesome, but we finally get introduced to a new. I don't want to call them zombies because they're not the infected. But when you get to see the clicker. And when it's like right by Joel's head, when he's turning, like dude, those again, that HBO stamp of gold is like, dude, those things were spot on. And I love the fact, because I don't necessarily remember this from the game, but how they pointed out that if you step on if you step on the fungi here, it can wake up a sleeping
dude, and when it starts going in their fingernails and waking them up, dude, dude, that was just. Such good attention to detail.
How'd you like that kiss of death?
Dude, that was one of my favorite parts. Dude, when she's like walking up to me, he's like...
so yeah, if they can stay on track, man, they're 2 down and 7 to go, and I gotta say, I'll be floored if this thing hits. I would say every episode so far is at least a 90 up. If they can stay 90 consistently, this thing... I don't know if it'll have the Game of Thrones power that Game of Thrones had, but this thing's been awesome.
Well, it's just nice having, like you said, the showrunner is experienced with that type of thing. They have the original
Craig Mazin
who did the game
Neil
work
Druckmann.
to make them stay on track. It's like, hopefully, you just can't lose with that formula. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's a win-win, baby.
It's a win-win for me and you.
So maybe we'll do another thing on episode 3 for next week's episode. But to answer your question, man, I think they are on the right track and they have a winning recipe.
Yeah, my favorite part is like he's like, and they're just about to crawl, and he's going, and he's like looks down at the glass, and that fucking thing.
That thing was on him.
Dude, I fucking loved it.
Nice. So, thank you for the question. And our final question, guys, comes from the Maverick Flyer. And they write, if all the first-party IP characters from Xbox, Sony, and Nintendo all had a battle royale, who do you think would win? So, again, first-party. This isn't third-party stuff. This would be all Nintendo main things. Mario, Zelda. This would be Sony... this is the way I put it. I would say
has so much.
I would say
IP.
Sony's big player is probably going to be Kratos. Xbox, their flagship, is going to be Master Chief. Nintendo already has Smash Brothers, so pick your poison. But my guess, and correct me if I'm wrong, would be Nintendo would win simply because of how overly powered Kirby is. Like, think about that. I mean, there's a great thing. Go watch Death Battles and go watch Kirby versus Majin Buu. He's so underplayed and so extremely powerful on a technical basis that let's put Kratos against him. He wins. Let's put Master Chief against him. He wins. So what else would it matter if everybody else is lower than them? I was thinking about that one for a while yesterday when I was looking at the question. I think Nintendo takes it just because of that.
Yeah, they just have so much original IP, and they have Magic users. They have years of content where the other two, they have a couple goodies, and but like they have a counter argument, I think, to every big player that the other two would have. Plus more powerful people. So I think in sheer volume and numbers, Nintendo has to take the cake on that one.
Ooh, so nice. Thank you for the question. Leave your answer down.
That's an interesting thought, though.
It is, right?
I want to start writing them out.
We can talk about it after and see if we can dive more into it. But the quick answer, I think Nintendo wins simply because of how OP Kirby is. And if you think I'm wrong, go watch Death Battle. Kirby versus Majin Buu, and then come back and tell me if you think that Kirby doesn't smash everybody. So, guys, that is the end of episode 159. Join us next time for episode 160. So, guys, my name is Craig Perales. This handsome fellow was Geno Perales. And until next time, guys, cheers.